Multiple law enforcement sources say the gunman did take his own life. And again, the NYPD Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch says right now the scene is contained and the lone shooter is neutralized. Obviously, as you heard from our experts, one person, one gunman. There is not a search right now for other people. It is a lone shooter, according to the NYPD Police Commissioner. As this investigation, though, continues, there are a lot of police. Again, the police commissioner is on scene. You also have the New York City mayor on scene right now, and we're expecting to learn much more information in the next at least half hour to hour. There will be a police briefing. They will update the media. We've not been given a time as to when they are going to hold that press conference, because right now I'm being told that detectives, police, the police brass, if you will, they're still going through the information. Information is still coming through. They're still working several leads right now, even though the lone shooter has been neutralized. He is deceased. This investigation is just getting started. We'll send it back to you.
Yeah, now, Mark, I just want to follow up on that point. With the lone shooter having killed himself on the 32nd floor, do we know where the police officer and the civilian were shot and wounded? On the ground floor, on the 32nd floor? What do we have any indication of where those injuries occurred?
That's a great question. At this point, I don't have that. We're working to get that information. If he just walked into sort of the vestibule, the atrium area, and opened fire, or if he accessed the floor, we're waiting to see where those people were shot. At this point, we knew from multiple sources the police officer was rushed out to get emergency help. Other police officers were carrying that officer, rushing to get them help. We don't know, which is a very good point. We're still waiting to hear where those at least two people where they were shot. And I'll ask that, and we'll try to have that for you right away.
Mark, we're going to let you get back on and work the phone, but last question for you. Does law enforcement know who this individual is? Do they know the identity of the shooter at this time? I know we have the picture. I know he is dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound, but do they know his name?
At this point, we're not hearing that. I'm working with some other folks on our team. At this point, we are not hearing that they have a name, that they have a confirmed identity. Again, they could have some leads, but they're working several leads right now. They're working several pieces of evidence that sort of they're collecting. They're running up some different leads that they have. But at this point, we're not hearing a specific name. But again, we'll keep asking. We'll keep on that as well.
All right. Thank you so much, Mark. We're going to let you get back to the reporting. I want to bring in our analysts here. Chris, maybe starting with you, just reacting to the news that we just heard from Mark Santia, understanding law enforcement is emphasizing this is a lone shooter who took his own life on the 32nd floor. He walked in on Park Avenue with a long gun. There will be a police briefing. We're going to find out when that is, and we will bring it to folks live. But your reaction now that we have more details.
Yeah, so, as was talked about, ESG was still going to clear the building, floor by floor very deliberately, all the while the local detective squad, or actually this will probably be a major crimes squad from, Midtown North would probably have it, but it depends if it'll be Midtown North or South. They'll start a homicide investigation, and they'll be working with the building security, trying to get the best images of this individual, compare that against employee files, see if this individual worked in that building, if he had an access card, or if not, using other publicly available information to see if they can use facial recognition to identify the subject as quickly as possible, and then start looking for a motive. Was this grievance driven? Was the employee, or was he a former employee who was fired? Was this workplace violence? Did he go in there to target somebody specifically? It's strange, looking at it as an active shooter event, because it was very limited in scale, despite the fact that he was carrying an AR-15 style assault rifle. And thankfully it was, because the damage that round can do to the general public is severe. And we already have one police officer wounded because that high velocity round can penetrate the protective vest that a local patrol officer wears. So thankfully, the scene was controlled. There's not more than one shooter, and the NYPD has got an amazing response capability and was able to isolate the event very quickly. And they do rehearse this quite often, unfortunately, because this could happen any given day in New York City or any city around the United States.
Mark Claxton, you're a retired NYPD detective. Where does your mind go based off of the images and the information that you're seeing so far?
Well, I think it's clear at this point that the full counterterrorism apparatus is in full force. We have a critical response command. I'm sure, I know it was referred to probably as the emergency services unit, was probably the critical response command with the same long arms, et cetera. So you have the area swamped. They had a level 3, I believe, mobilization, which calls in a whole bunch of resources. And then you have the cooperation and integration of the Joint Terrorism Task Force into the equation to get some more information and to kind of assist with the investigation moving forward. You want to maintain the integrity of that crime scene as well, because you want to be able to get as much information as possible. You want to isolate individuals who may be witnesses. You want to identify other individuals who may perhaps be involved in more devious kind of ways, but you want to do all of these things at the same time in the midst of what can, for many people, seem to be chaotic. But it's important to note that I can guarantee you that the primary focus and area of concern for all of the law enforcement response personnel there is the condition of that police officer who is reported has been severely wounded. And so that's the challenge that law enforcement has to deal with on a regular basis. It's in the midst of chaos. How do you maintain control, order, stick to your training, solve crimes, end the threat, and look out for each other, your colleagues, as well as the civilian population. So I know it's a very difficult, challenging time, but to have all of the necessary equipment, expertise, and experience to be successful at this. So the focus really, I'm sure in their mind, is the condition of their colleague.
Attorney General Pam Bondi just posted on X that U.S. Attorney in New York, Jay Clayton, has set up a command post to assist with the shooting in New York City, and local FBI agents are on the scene. Cedric, could you speak a little bit more to what Mark was talking about in terms of the coordination now that the shooter has been identified as deceased, killing himself on the 32nd floor? We've been able to see that those individuals who were shot, both the police officers and the civilian, are being attended to. Now the coordination, now the effort between FBI and New York City Police plus other agencies comes into play. What does that look like as this investigative part of this begins to expand beyond the perimeter of the building itself?
Well, that's a great question, and that's exactly what I was going to respond to. And what will occur now is the second part of all of this, which will be the first part of the beginning of an investigation in terms of who was this individual who attacked these people in that building just a short time ago. What you're going to see, and what we can pretty much speculate, is that you're going to have your federal, state, and local assets all collaborating with each other, along with DHS and any other agencies that may be a benefit to determine as quickly as possible who was the shooter and what was the motive behind this shooting. Here again, did he know someone inside that building? Did he have some type of adverse interactions with someone inside? Or was this just a lone gunman who decided that he wanted to carry out this nefarious act that injured and hurt other people and put that whole city and the rest of this country on edge? We have seen these scenarios before, many times too often. But here again, your state, local, and federal agencies, fortunately, are well trained in these types of events. But unfortunately, this training has to come into play too frequently, as we most often see from week to week, a month to month. But there is no doubt that within a short period of time, they'll have this person identified through forensics information, or maybe even ID that he may have on himself, which would take them back to his residence or those that may have known him or do know him. And more importantly, or equally as just as important, is to determine if there were others who might have taken part in this plot and plan to do injury to innocent people. So we're going to see throughout a short period of time, and I would not be surprised as early as tonight they're able to identify him, and I'm pretty much certain within the next 24 to 48 hours. But this is all going to be part of now the investigation that will go forward.